I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
I'm gonna take you to the bank. The blood bank. Man, some guys have all the luck. In 1988, Aikido instructor Steven Seagal lucked into becoming a movie star with Above the Law. Working as the martial arts instructor for Uber agent Michael Ovitz, the head of CAA and one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, Seagal aced a screen test for Warner Brothers, and the rest is action movie history. Seagal not only starred, but produced and got a story credit in his big screen debut. Again, some guys have all the luck. Won't find many stories like that anymore. Here's the funny thing. Above the Law was only a modest success at the box office. It grossed $18 million, $2 million less than another WB action flick and real action favorite, Action Jackson. But where's our slew of Carl Weathers action flicks? Where Above the Law must have really fared well was on home video, and Seagal, overnight, was suddenly in high demand. Thus, Warner Brothers decided to put him into another action flick right away. But first, Seagal needed a bit of a movie star makeover. In Above the Law, Seagal's hair is, well, it's a bit weird, in that it's barely there up top. The guy was going bald, but in Hard to Kill, he's got a jet black helmet of hair, including, for the first time ever, his signature ponytail. Hard to Kill would also feature a less convoluted plot than Above the Law. This meant the movie no longer had to do with shady CIA black ops in Vietnam. Nope, instead, this was a simple cop seeks vengeance movie that was easy to distill into a 90-minute movie. In this one, Seagal plays Mason Storm, an honest cop who discovers a politician named Vernon Trent, played by the great William Sadler, is in bed with the mob. Before he can expose him, Seagal and his family are attacked by assassins. His wife is killed, and Storm is left for dead, slipping into a coma that he wasn't expected to wake up from. His old partner, Frederick Coffin's Lieutenant O'Malley, hides Storm in a hospital as a John Doe and raises his kid as his own. 7 years later, Storm wakes up from his coma looking like a hippie Jesus, thanks in no small part to the sexy nurse who lusts over his comatose bod. What was that about Seagal having a hand in crafting his own story? Atrophy be damned, Storm wakes up from his coma and immediately had to fight off assassins. With his nurse in tow, he takes off to the countryside to rebuild his body. Along the way, him and the hot nurse get it on, despite his wife's corpse being a pretty fresh memory at this point. The hot nurse is played by Weird Science Woman in Red dream girl Kelly LeBrock, who was Mrs. Steven Seagal at the time. Talk about a B-list power couple, or, well, they could have been. As far as Seagal's early output goes, Hard to Kill is a fun one. It runs a mere 90 minutes and it goes down pretty easy. It was directed by Bruce Malmuth, who had worked with another on-screen action legend and the inspiration for this video series, Sylvester Stallone, in 1981's Nighthawks. Apparently, Malmuth and Seagal didn't get along, with Seagal reportedly being tough to work with. What? You're kidding. With him saying in an interview at the time that, quote, "I think it's a miracle that this guy can put one foot in front of the other." As we talked about during our earlier Marked for Death video, part of Seagal's appeal at the time came from the mystique he built upon about himself. His past was shrouded in mystery, with his history in Japan giving him a lot of cred. Seagal also used to make allusions about having possibly worked with the CIA in some capacity, as us action fans back then just ate it up. He also had a very distinct look, with him tall and initially, anyways, pretty lean. He wore designer clothes and usually dressed all in black. He didn't have much in the way of muscles, but he moved really well. His Aikido skills were brutal, and the fight scenes in his movies were unlike any we'd seen in martial arts movies before. A perfect example of this is the first extended fight scene in a supermarket where he foils a robbery. Well, okay, he doesn't actually foil it, he pretty much just lets it happen. But when the owner pulls out a bat and gets killed, Seagal goes to work. There's no extended balletic fight scenes in a Seagal fight. Rather, it's a series of brutal, bloody quick moves. Yet, as in a lot of his fights, there's also a bit of sadism and cruelty, and he toys with the main bad guy, who's armed with a knife. But against Seagal in this era, he's hopelessly outmatched. Having killed a bunch of dudes in the supermarket doesn't seem to bother him too much though, as he jumps into his car afterwards, cranking the Chuck Mangione. I'm not going to say Seagal's treatment of bad guys in his movies was a precursor to his Steven Seagal lawman attitude, but I'm not saying it either.
Come on. What are you doing? No, please. No! No! No!
The supporting cast in Hard to Kill is pretty solid, with William Sadler an appropriately slimy villain. That said, it suffers from the same problem as most Seagal movies. No one seems like they're a good physical match for him. Seagal doesn't just beat people up or kill them, he humiliates and demolishes them.
The best of the best.
I'm impressed.
That's for my wife. Fuck you and die.
The female role in this one is better than usual, with LeBrock the love interest. She certainly looks great, but given how their marriage collapsed pretty badly in the years following this, the chemistry just seems off. Hard to Kill wound up grossing $47.4 million in North America, more than double what Above the Law made. This was indeed the movie that established the Seagal formula. 3-word titles, ponytail, ultra-violence. It would be closely followed by Marked for Death later that year, and in 1991, Seagal would release Out for Justice. However, at this point his ego would start to get the better of him. He would disastrously host Saturday Night Live in an episode so bad that it's never been rerun, and Seagal would earn himself a lifetime ban. He would also make a controversial appearance on the Arsenio Hall show where he'd call out Jean-Claude Van Damme. He comes off like a major dick in the interview. That said, his next movie, Under Siege, would be his biggest and most critically well received. He truly seemed on the cusp of superstardom at this point, but then he went to the 3-word titles with a movie he would direct himself, On Deadly Ground, and his career never really recovered. As it is, Hard to Kill is Seagal at his most energetic and arguably ranks as one of his best vehicles. Hard to Kill gets 7 out of 10 Stallones. Thank you for watching our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel. Tell your friends who like this sort of content, and turn on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. We're an independent company and we appreciate all of your support.